love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace.
Hello, this is Peak Performance Mentor. I'm your host, Diego Natale. Today, we're talking about something that happened to every single person on this planet every day, and most people don't have an idea that has a name. You sit down to do something important, you get interrupted, and you move on. But the task doesn't move on. It follows you into the next meeting, into the drive home, into the shower, into bed at 2 a.m. That is not a personality flaw. That is your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. And once you understand why, you can use it in your favor. It is called the Zeigarnik Effect, and today we are explaining it here. It was in Berlin in 1927. A young Soviet psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik is seated in a cafe with her professor, Kurt Lewin. And Lewin notices something strange about the waiter. This man is managing 6, 7, 8 tables simultaneously, complex orders, special requests, no pad, and he's getting everything right. It is very impressive. But here is what is stranger. Lewin calls the waiter back after he has delivered the bills, everything is paid, everything is settled, and asks him to repeat one of the orders. The waiter looks at him like he's speaking in a different language. He cannot remember any of the orders. It is gone from his memory. Lewin is fascinated by this fact, and Zeigarnik goes back to the lab and runs a series of experiments where participants are given tasks to complete. Some they finish, some they are interrupted halfway through. The result, people recall interrupted tasks nearly twice as well as completed ones. Here is the key. The Zeigarnik effect is when incomplete tasks create a persistent mental tension that keeps them active in your working memory until the loop is closed. The waiter remembered the open orders because they were still open. The moment the bill was paid, the loop was closed. Then the brain released the data. Your mind acts like a well-trained waiter, and it never forgets an unpaid tab. Here is the mechanism to the Zeigarnik effect. When you begin a task, any task, your brain opens what we call cognitive loop. Think of it like an active browser tab. It is loaded, it is running, and it's using your computer's resources, right? Completing the task closes that computer tab that you have. Your brain releases the tension, you move on. But when you stop without finishing, the tab stays open. And here is what makes it powerful and painful at the same time. Your brain doesn't just passively hold the loop. It actively sends you reminders, spontaneous, involuntary thoughts that pull you back to the unfinished system or unfinished item. Psychologists call these intrusive thoughts, and they are not a malfunction. They are your brain's notification system. The problem is not that the system exists. The problem is that most people have dozens of open loops running simultaneously, and they wonder why they cannot focus. I'm going to give you an example that I think most of you will recognize immediately. You're working on something, a report, a presentation, a proposal. You get it 80% of the way through, and something else pulls you out of the task. Something else pulls your attention, an urgent email, a meeting, live. You tell yourself, I will finish it tonight. Tonight becomes tomorrow, tomorrow becomes next week. But here's what happened in the meantime. Every time you sit down to do something else, something completely unrelated is when that report shows up uninvited. You are in a meeting, the report shows up. You are eating lunch, that report slowly surfaces. You wake up at 3 a.m., the report is there, waiting with absolutely no care of your sleep. That is not stress. That is the Zeigarnik effect working at full capacity. Your brain refuses to drop what you started. It considers the loop that open tab a debt, and your brain will collect no matter what. Now I'm gonna give you an example that affects most relationships. You have a difficult conversation with someone. It doesn't get resolved. Maybe it ends abruptly. Maybe you both walk away. Maybe you say something and regret it. That conversation stays with you, not because you are weak or overthinking, because your brain feels it as incomplete. You replay it, you rehearse what you should have said, you write the response in your head, you have the conversation 17 more times alone. The loop is still open, and until something closes it, a real conversation, a decision, a conscious act of release, it will keep running in the background. This is why unsolved conflicts are so cognitively expensive. They tax your brain. They are not just emotional, they are structural. They occupy space. Now, here is what gets interesting, because the Zeigarnik effect is not just a problem, it's a tool. And I'm gonna give you some strategies to using it to your favor. Strategy one is write it down specifically. In 2011, a few psychologists found something remarkable. Participants who simply made a specific plan to complete the task without actually doing it experience significantly fewer intrusive thoughts about that. The brain does not need the loop fully closed. It needs an anchor. Not, I will finish a report vaguely and I will figure it out. Draft an introduction. Thursday, 10 a.m., my desk. That level of specificity satisfies the brain's requirements. The intrusion drops. The rule, vague intentions stay in your head, specific plans get filled. That's how you beat it. Strategy number two, and this one is counterintuitive. You can use the Zeigarnik effect on purpose by stopping mid-task intentionally. Ernest Hemingway, another psychologist, reportedly stopped writing mid-sentence at the end of every session. We're saying mid-sentence, not mid-chapter. Why? Because he knew his brain would hold the thread, would rehearse the next line overnight, would arrive the next morning already engaged. Not a starting call, but picking up momentum. If you always finish clearly, you always start cold. If you stop at a natural tension point, you give your brain something to work on. You arrive at your next session already in motion, because you can use this to your favor. And finish is not always a failure. Sometimes it is a strategy. Strategy number three, the weekly loop audit. This strategy is the most important for sustained performance. Every week, Sunday will work well as an advice. Sit down and look at every open commitment in your system. Every project, every promise, every task you said, I will do it and did not, receive an audit. For each one, you make a decision. There are going to be 4 decisions only, and are the following ones. Do it, delegate it, defer it with a specific date, or delete it. There is not a fifth option. There is not maybe, not someday, not I will get to it. Because someday is not a date, and your brain knows it. Every loop you have in limbo is a background noise, a process draining your cognitive capacity. The weekly audit is not time management. It is a mental maintenance. High performers do not have fewer open loops than everybody else. They have better system for closing them. So, the Zeigarnik effect Your brain was not built to forget what is unfinished. It was built to pursue completion, because for most of human history, leaving things undone had consequences. That system still runs in you, it's in your genes, and you use it every day. The question is know how to stop it. The question is whether you're running it or is running you. Write down all the open loops, make specific plans, use uninterruptions strategically, audit your commitments weekly, close those open tabs, and you will see fascinating results. Now, this is all I have for you today, and I'm gonna leave you as I always do. Be grateful for all those little things you have, and you will unfold a life of gratitude. Be nicer to each other, and know that you are appreciated, my friend. Until next time, this is Peak Performance Mentor. Thank you for staying with us.
I'm always thankful for something.
Ciao.
Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape,